Hey, what's up? What's happening? Welcome to another episode of Brothers Need Therapy. We have a special guest on today's show. We got my little brother, Aaron. Say what's up to the
Hey,
people, man.
hey everybody. How's it going? God bless you.
Good deal. Yeah, it's been a while. I've had a lot of life going on. I recently moved to Mexico. I'm actually here in Kansas City, just visiting for now. But moved to Mexico. I had to come back here because I got to renew some paperwork, take care of that white man's paperwork so I can be in the country legally. And I definitely do plan on just getting back with the videos. I'm just going to keep it real simple and just go back to just doing the episodes where I'm just talking about my therapy journey. I've had a lot of healing going on, and then eventually over time, when schedules permit, I have other people on. And then also, if you go to the Instagram, I got the link posted for the shirts, the hoodies. It's gonna be hoodie season. The mugs, the pins, all the merch for um, Brothers Need Therapy. So tell a friend to just get the word out about therapy. So we'll just go ahead and get right into it. We definitely having this episode is wonderful. We want to celebrate. Aaron had a victory this week.
Yeah,
Just go
yeah.
ahead and tell the people, man.
Yeah, finally got my letter, the white man's paperwork. Uh this is to advise you that your child support order has been modified by the 16th Judicial Circuit of Missouri. You are now, I'm not going to say the amount, but this is say it dropped significantly. And I feel I is free. Give us free.
Man,
It's been a long process. I'm just glad. I just want to encourage any brothers out there dealing with the child support system. Yes, we know it's not in our favor. Um, I didn't thank God I didn't have to go through a lawyer. I thought I was going to eventually have to use one, but I just stayed persistent. And every time they would say you need another document, I would just keep doing it, following through, following up. I would make phone calls. I would write notes. The main thing is just staying on top of it, and don't give up. Go ask for help if you need help. Find an advocate. I will shout out to my counselor, Pastor Mike, in my church. He would consistently just encourage me through the whole process and praying for me. Because sometimes as brothers, it feels like a very lonely silo with the child support system. Because there are people out there who will judge you. They're
yeah,
like, why are you modifying this? Why are you modifying? But just know anybody that's in the child support system, everybody's situation is different. And just try to encourage people that are dealing with it. Because at the end of the day, it's the kids that, it's not about the money. It's about what is going to be the best situation for both parents so they can be better parents for those kids. And in my situation, the original child support order was based off of a crazy amount of money that I was used to make, but I don't based off what I used to make, but not what I make now. And so anyway, thank God. Also, I had a partner, my former wife, that was willing to work with me, and we were able to do the whole family. It's like an online virtual family court.
got you.
And anyway, we were able to come to an agreement on an amount that I felt was fair. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a long road. This is about like almost a 2-year
Woo,
process.
2 years,
Well,
man. Yeah.
technically, I've been on child support for like 6-7 years.
Okay.
But anyway, and yeah, you and mom were like, Aaron, get it modified. And I was like,
Yeah.
there was a part of me that was like, I'll make it work. But it got to a point, it's kicking my behind.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just, yeah, because I
Yeah,
remember at some of those initial conversations, you were just like, yeah, I don't want them all up in my business. And yeah, just, trying to, and then worrying about it, maybe even increasing because, the books were looking funny and stuff. Well, as far as, especially when you're doing rideshare and door,
yeah,
it's like, it looks different. Like they might not be able to understand all, but like, nah, just and it's okay to say, hey, yo, it's kicking my behind.
yeah,
It's like, hey, it's okay, brothers, just to say I'm weak. Like in certain areas, it's all like, yo, this is really. And then when you're able to do that, you never know who's going to come along and be like, yo, let's work this thing out so
yeah.
you can carry this load. So
And that's the other thing I'll say real quick is my mental health too. The fact that, because yeah, as black, well, not just black men, but men in general, you think you're Superman. and like you never really want to. And we're told to be providers, and then you get them Bible scriptures thrown at you by ladies, Christian women. They'll be like, a man. I had that said to me multiple times. A man who doesn't take care of his family is worse than an infidel. And it's like, how can I take care of my family when I can barely take care of myself?
Right.
And until I get in a position, when I got diagnosed with bipolar in 2019, 18 or whatever, and it took me a while to actually, I know I'm not my diagnosis, right? But it took me a while to like come to, how do you say it? Like come to term, accept it.
Yeah.
Like accept like, okay, these are the symptoms I deal with. These are the patterns of behavior I deal with that impact me day to day. And like, okay, what can I do to make myself better? And this is like part of the process. This is like one step in the process of getting this taken care of. Like, because one of the things when you deal with bipolar is the more stressed you are, the more stressed out you are.
Mm-hmm.
And stress comes in many forms, especially financial. The more your symptoms get worse.
Gotcha.
So the manic cycles and all that. So, just the whole acceptance part, and that's real important. It's
So I guess the one definite question I ask is what have you learned about yourself during this process?
Oh man, it's I've learned. I've kind of like had to force the journal a lot. I keep a lot of journals on my phone. That's why you always see me doing all these audiobooks. I write my dreams down every day. I've learned that I've learned to take. I've learned that I have these things that are, I want to say weaknesses, but they're my what other people might have seen as weaknesses, like the mania, the cycles of like the rapid thoughts, the where my brain just wants to like it's just on hyperdrive.
Gotcha.
The frantic speech, and I catch myself doing it. It's all, or what's another thing? Like the impulsive behaviors, right?
Uh-huh.
These are all things that are part of me, but I've had to learn how to like channel them into like, okay, how can I use these superpowers? Because there really are superpowers, like when you channel it right. But like, how can I tap into that and use it for positive things, like just cranking out audiobooks,
Mm-hmm.
and not so much just to make money, but because like, as they say, like a lot of artists, they don't really get recognized for the contributions they made to this world until after they die.
Yeah.
And so, like even this, I feel like, inspiring. I feel like in some ways I might have inspired you to write more and tell your stories. I remember when you first came back from Iraq, you weren't really talking about any of it, and anybody else. So yeah, those are the biggest things I learned about myself is that other things that other people have maybe demonized me for, said there's something wrong with you. They're actually things that you can use positively and use it to help. Yeah, it's kind of healing me as I do the writing and all that, but also and talk about my pain, talk about my shortcomings, and then I feel like I'm going to continue to just help other people out there. Like, there's to sum it all up, there's purpose in the pain.
Gotcha.
So,
good deal. Yeah, I look forward to the day either one, get that big old nice check to where you can do like the Anthony Edwards payout. I mean, still have relationship with your kids, but get that published year clearinghouse check, or the day that we're making that last child support payment. So
oh man,
have them balloons ready.
yeah, I gotta have some money set aside for that, cause that's some like I didn't mean to make this whole. I don't make the whole episode talking about child support, but it's something. It's like in life, as you know, you can either, when you come across obstacles, you can either run from them or face them head on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm learning through this process, like yeah, you can't. There's a lot of things you can't change. So it's like, okay, what can I do? Like, what do I have the ability to do? And yeah, people. I don't think a lot of people. I didn't know this. I'll never forget. It was like 2016. It's like right before my divorce. I'll never forget. Cousin, shout out to Greg Gutty Jr. He had a song. Our cousin out in Virginia, VA. Look up his music. Greg Gutty Jr. That's a Greg and then Gutty Jr. He has a song called Child Support. I remember watching the video when it first came out. And prior to that, the only knowledge I had about child support was dad, working at Ford all them years, and you tell these horror stories about these dudes getting put on the system and, having to work two jobs because your whole check is going to your baby mama, and then these dudes are barely seeing their kids too. It's like, so anyway, that was the only knowledge I had before that. And then when cousin Greg had that song, I just remember watching the video and I thought it was cool, but I couldn't relate to it.
Mm-hmm.
But now when I hear that song, it's kind of like, any song.
Right.
When you were a kid, some of these love songs, they didn't really hit because you hadn't gone through that stuff. You didn't know what it was like to have your heart broken. But then you listen to it now and them songs be hitting different. And so anyway, a lot of people don't realize, like, yeah, you basically are losing your freedom.
Right.
And I'm not here to bash I'm not really here to really bash the system or bash women that put men on child support. It's more of just like, we need to talk about these things. Like, when you put a man on child support, are you making the situation worse, or is it helping? And everybody's situation is different. So like, a lot of dudes, they end up falling behind because everybody in the relationship deals with loss differently. Like, a lot of dudes, we just insulate. And
right.
Like with Pops, he didn't fight.
Right.
And so where am I going with this? I'm trying to like land this plane here. But a lot of dudes, they end up falling behind, going underground. Because a lot of times your whole check gets taken away with these jobs, right? So they end up going underground and finding a lot of these dudes. They end up turning to making money under the table, and or having to do these like things like the subcontractor jobs, so that your money isn't automatically drafted out or garnished, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of people don't realize, like, you lose your past. Like, if you fall behind so much, sometimes you can get thrown in jail. You can lose your rights to get a passport to leave the country. You can have your license suspended. They say they don't do that anymore, but some places still do. Every state is different. What's the other big thing that you can lose? It's like your bank accounts.
Folks get thrown in jail for
your bank accounts is be like, I remember one time they just like took all, like, if you have over $100 in a checking account, all your money could be gone. So you got to find other ways to have your money in these other accounts. Like, you got to like find ways to like, so they don't take all your money, so you can pay your rent, or so that you can make your car payment, like, so you can still take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it's a very, I know there's lots of content about the child support system, and people are constantly talking about ways to beat it. I was one of these dudes that was trying to just beat the system.
Right.
I was more of like, I'm just trying to do what's fair, and I don't even say necessarily fair, but like, what is going to, like, as they say, you can't take care of others. Bless you.
Thank you. Damn, cold,
as they say,
man.
put the oxygen mask over yourself.
Right.
So that you can take care of other people. So
yeah, and we are very much aware of the F boys that don't want to take care of responsibilities or produce a child. They just run off, and that's something that's the weight that they're going to have to deal with at some point. I guess our experience is more of like you said, you weren't trying to get out of take responsibility. Same with mine, because that was a thing too. Like, there was things that I could have came at you with about it. That's why the only thing I was like, hey, at some point you got to get it modified, because like, my child support situation was, I was in the Army, and my divorce was through the state of Illinois, and all these states, my bad, eye burning, we'll get through it. But every state, like, Hey, I mean, do what you need to do, but maybe before you have a kid, you might want to look up the child support laws in your state, because the state of Illinois, it was 20% for one child, and I had two, so they took 28% of my income. And so the first part of the first my first child support order was about $600 a month, and I was like, that's cool, because I was an E6 in the army, I was making a decent amount of money, and then I had a roommate, so we were splitting the rent, so everything was cool. And then, there was a lot of anger on the part. There was anger on both parts, but
Yeah.
definitely on hers, and then money. And I'll take accountability for the fact that I cheated on my ex-wife. There was domestic violence. We cheated on each other, but I started cheating. But then there was domestic violence as well, because there was a lot of anger in our marriage. And so, when you deal with that, and so then she wanted. So what they do is they were taking out my base pay. So in the army, you get a base pay, a set amount, and then on top of that, you get a housing allowance, and then that varies by state. And so I was like, and it's not, that part is not taxed. So I was like, she should not have no right to touch this money, because even the IRS don't even take that money. And but then in the court, I had a good lawyer, but I guess they didn't understand the whole situation or whatever, and so then they were eventually, hey, that still counts as income. And so what they did was they did me so dirty. They doubled my child support, and then on top of that, they took arrears from the original order. They were like, from the original order, you still need to pay on top of that. And I was like, what?
And did
I
you
was
say she wasn't getting some of that too, or something?
this is later. I get to that.
Yeah.
But then right around that time too, my roommate had to move out, because his soon to be ex wife, she needed a place to stay, so he had to go get an apartment. And then everything just fell on me. And it's crazy, because during that time, that was probably the most productive I was in the army, because I was all like, I would just stay at work. But yeah. And so I got out the army, because it was hell. Because the army, you can't duck child support in the army, man. Because you're gonna call up your unit, and they're gonna literally take you to a computer and force you to set up an allotment, so it'll go straight out your check. And if anytime I was missing a pay, whatever, they would pull me into the office, and like a sergeant major, he'd be looking at me, he'd be like, "Yo, why you not taking care of your responsibilities?" And you can't come up with an excuse, because Uncle Sam does not care. They be like, "Hey, you chose that woman, you chose to impregnate her. It's your responsibility. You need to take account, no matter what excuse." And I was like, all right. So that was like one of the things that contributed to. There was other things why I got the army. One of them, because like I just didn't like that whole control factor. And then but when I got out, I was like, one of the first things I did was like, yo, I'm not making the same amount of money. Holler at my lawyer, and we went back to court. And then um, like my ex-wife, she was hiding, so she had a lot going on. She was hiding, and so they couldn't get a hold of her. And so I was like, look, I just want to get my child support, modified. But then it was like, well, they're like, when's the last time you saw your kids? I was like, not since the divorce. So they abated my child support. So pretty much what that was, it was like, all right, we're going to stop the child support, and then we'll resume it when either you get a job, or she comes back to court. And so what's crazy is like, yeah, because I couldn't get a. After that, I was finally able to get a passport, and then I actually got a refund check. But I still had to deal with two different states, because it was issued in the state of Illinois, but enforced by Missouri. But I finally like got it together, and they got me a refund. And then later, when me and my ex-wife were like
Hold on,
civil,
they gave you a refund
yeah, I got a
on
refund check on my
from.
child support. Yeah,
Oh
from a
man,
certain amount. I forgot how much that money was, man, but I got a refund check.
man.
And so I after me and my ex wife I ended up moving out to Houston. I asked her, I was like, hey, yo, what do you like? I was like, I know this is a touchy topic, but do you want me to pay anything, or yada yada? And she had got remarried, and then she was like, nah, just do for the kids. Like if the kids need something, just whatever it need. I was like, all right, cool, I could do that. So I was like, I made sure I went through the system, and yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah.
that's something they don't talk about too. Is it's like the psychological toll. Like both of it's weird because we both grew up in like a middle class home, two parents making like six figures between the two of them. Lived in a nice house, all that. We're able to like take private music lessons. We had a decent life, right? Able to go on trips, and um, it's like And then when we got out on our own, our parents they prepared us for life. They told us but there's a lot of things that you aren't really prepared for when you get out here. When you just kind of
I
winging
don't
it,
think.
especially when you get married young.
Yeah, I don't think they prepared us for the mental aspect
Yeah,
of it. Was I was just thinking like, all right, bam, you just like I was like, hey, you just go to work, you do the right thing, you go to school, and then everything's gonna fall into place. And I would hear Dad talk about spiritual warfare and
yeah.
like when you leave the home, you lose that covering of your parents. And what are you talking about? Hey, I got on my own. I was like, oh snap.
And we had the type of mom that was like not. I mean, they helped us here and there. Like later on, there's times like there were a couple times I'll reach out to mom and dad like, hey, I got I can use some help here. But they overall, mom was like, nah, like y'all better figure it out. And
And that's what I'll say. That's what I do appreciate about my parents. It's all like, and instead of spiraling out, it's like, no, you could stop, like, but later I'm learning, like, hey, stop, breathe, relax,
yeah,
pray, and at some point, something's going to come together.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you'll be able
Pops
to figure it
always,
out.
yeah, he was constantly trying to like encourage us to figure out like yeah, increase our faith.
Yeah,
Like learn your faith walk, like trusting God is your source, not us.
right.
And but like the main thing I was trying to say with that is like if you were already struggling financially as a couple, it's like the government don't give a they do not care once it's like people don't realize like okay you both have you're all pulling your resources together, robbing Peter to pay Paul to make ends meet. And now all of a sudden the government comes in and is like, you got to pay this amount every month, and if you don't pay it, like we're gonna make your life. That's the other thing. Your credit gets jacked up when you
Mm-hmm.
fall behind. They show that every time you apply for a car or anything. They show that back child support, and there's like a stigma tied to it too. And your job now, everybody knows they get the HR people. They get that paperwork if you're behind, right? And so it's like it's weird. They expect you to and then they also put that expectation for you to be on healthcare, provide for your kids' healthcare.
Yeah.
Like my kids were on Medicaid. Like if you made, I think the cutoff is like 105,000 when you got 4 kids. Yeah, family of 6, and so it's just weird because it's like they just like don't care about your story, and like so some dudes they're able to keep it moving. Whether, they got resources, they can go live with their family. Thank God I was able to live with Pops for a little bit of time. But not everybody has that, that was only for a period of time. Like some people are able to like, just keep it going, go live with a friend. Like some dudes, they like live with a friend and they get married again. And, something about, yeah, having that roommate to split, like, it was great with Pops. I was able to live here rent free for a while, but like, while I was going through my mental health stuff too, but not that only goes for so far, right?
Yeah.
And so, it's that weird balance, that's that crazy balance of like you're trying to take care of yourself and get your life back in order, and self medicating in some ways, uh, and trying to like recover from you're not, yeah, you going from seeing your kids every day, like even though I worked a lot, I still was able to see them and put them to bed every night and read them bedtime stories. And now it's not that way anymore.
Yeah.
Like that co-parenting life.
And even in my situation, it was like I said, going back and reading the emails for this book, and I just realized that I wasn't like even when I was in the house, like I was not present at all. Like I was dealing with, and I didn't know how to be present with the kids. Like maybe do activities here, take them to the zoo here, but like be present with them because like I had that pressure to provide. Like I'm over there working at a job. I was like my life was not going where I thought it was going to be coming out of Hazelwood Central and thinking like, oh man, getting an internship at Arthur Anderson, a big accounting firm, and I'm thinking my life is going to go to the moon. And it was like, nope, bam, flunked out of college, spiraled out, working at a hospital for a little bit over minimum wage, and then I'm just angry. I was angry. I was angry at like mom and dad, like angry at because like I wasn't getting help from my ex wife, and just definitely angry at myself. and it's like, and then all that anger, it just comes out.
Yeah.
Like when it comes, abuse and then neglect, and then it's all like, so it's like, even though I miss my kids, I think just is the fact of having that attachment of having them around. But it's like, even when I was around them, when I moved back to Houston, I didn't even know how to I didn't know how to relate to them because it's all like they were teenagers already, you're to go to college, and then I didn't know what I could talk about because their mom had got remarried, and I don't know what stories that she told him, and I'm like, I'm not trying to rock the I wasn't trying to deal with no conflict, and so it's like it I think I've gotten to the place, and I kind of it's somebody I told mom. She's like, it's kind of weird, but I was saying how I was like, I got kids, but I don't got kids at the same time. It's like I
Yeah.
know they're physically out there. I pray for them, but it's like the relationship is not there, and it's like I had to make peace with the fact, like, hey, either one day we will have reconciliation, or may not reconciliation may never ever happen. It's all in God's will and plan. Because the story already scripted out. All I can do is just keep living and being a better version of myself, and then also do what I can. Take how they say, take your mess and make it a mission, your testimony, and like advise other brothers, like, yo, learn how to be present with yourself, and then be present with your children. Like, learn, like, take the time to talk about them, and not just like play video games with them, but like talk about your life. Like, talk about the struggles that you went through, like trying to being at their age, what you went through. Like, not trying to lecture them about certain things, but like just say, hey, this is what your pops went through. If you got any questions, just know that no matter what, you can always, no matter what you're going through, you can always, come and talk to me, because like the world is gonna, like, try to influence you so much. So it's important to have that foundation.
Yeah, that's man, that's so many different directions I could go with this. But that would be my biggest encouragement to folks. Or if I could talk to my younger, fresh out of divorce self, is like I wouldn't really redo any of it, but because it was some parts of it were kind of good, but uh like don't be so quick to just like jump back into a new relationship, or even like keep the yeah, keep how do I'm trying to say the best way to say this, keep your loins under control. Like, cause yeah, that was a way of self medicating, like going through that whole phase for a minute. And it's like, how to say this, nobody prepares you for, there was things that were already that led to you separating from this woman that you had children with. At some point, there was love there. Y'all loved each other. Y'all had kids together, right? And then now all of a sudden, y'all ain't together. And some dudes are kind of happy to get out of the situation. I wasn't quite all the way there,
Right.
and there was things that I was going on with me that led to the whole domestic violence, led to the emotional affairs, you want to call it, and just like having to like forgive myself for that, because like you really be feeling like this, like not just your ex-wife, but her family, and like I feel like a lot like demons too, just lying to you, telling like you ain't nothing, you a piece of, you know what, you a deadbeat, and you just like that and like dealing with like seeing your kids now, and you know that their mom's been saying stuff, or people been saying stuff, and yeah, because my daughters, my oldest daughter especially, she's been there since the beginning, so she saw it all, and like just trying to be whole for them.
Mm.
Meanwhile, too, like everybody's situation is different too. Like nobody prepares you for when you find out
Well,
your
well,
wife.
I'll pause you on that note right there, because we're gonna go ahead and stop that at part one.
Oh, okay,
On
yeah,
part two, we're gonna talk about life after divorce.
yeah.
So once again, this has been an episode of Brothers Need Therapy.
Oh
With
man.
Aaron, appreciate your story, and like I said, when we come back, we will talk about life after divorce.
Cool.